creepiest experience you ever had in your life and why you still think about them?
Bitch, do I have a scary story for you? Buckle in. First of all, I am gonna just let you guys know, this video does deal with these. So if this scares the shit out of you, please scroll on, but yeah. Alright, let me preface this video really quick and explain some things, and then we'll get into the actual story. Alright, so, I am white. I look white, so bitch, I'm white. But I am also Native American. I grew up on the reservation. I still live on the reservation to this day. The plot of land and the house that this story takes place in, I am actually in it right now. I still live in that house to this day. So anyways, let's get into the story. At the time of this story, I was about 10 years old. My little brother was 4 years old, and it was only my little brother, my mom, and I home at this time. So it's just the three of us. It is the middle of the night, about 10-11 p.m., and it is hot. It's summer. It's like that sticky hot summer. So the door to the outside, the screen door, is shut, and then the inside door was open, and I was in the living room by myself watching a show. So the show's volume was pretty low, and I'm watching the show, and I could still hear everything that's happening outside. And I hear my little brother call my name from outside. It's late. It's like 11 p.m. And he calls me, Sierra! And I'm watching the show, and I said, what? And doesn't answer. A little time goes by. I hear him again, Sierra! What? And then I pause the show, and I hear him say, come out here. So I don't think anything of it. I go to the door, and then that's when my stomach just falls, because I see both my dogs at the time staring in the direction that I heard my little brother call me, frozen. And my dogs are the type of dogs to be barking, but they're frozen, and one of my dogs had her tail between her legs. And at the time, I was legally blind, couldn't see very well. Actually, pretty thankful that I couldn't see that night, but it was really dark, and I'm like, bitch, you know what? I'm not going out there to get this little boy. I'm gonna go get my mom. So I go to my mom's room to let her know that her 4-year-old son is outside at 11 p.m. And what do I find? I find her and my little brother asleep on the bed next to her. Do I know what was calling my name that night, sounding exactly like my little brother? No, I don't know. I have an inkling of what it probably was. I have a lot of other scary stories from living here, from growing up here. But either way, yeah, that's the scariest shit that ever happened to me. Hope it scared you guys a little bit. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.
Tell me, what's the creepiest experience you ever had in your life and why you still think about them?
Might as well tell my story. So my mom used to take us to Statesboro, Georgia every single summer. And we got family in Metter, Georgia, which is like 30 minutes away from Statesboro. It's more of the country. Statesboro is more the city. But our family is from Metter, but my grandma stayed in Georgia. Well, Statesboro. So it's like between the wee hours between the sun setting and the sun actually being done for. And the GPS took us a weird way. We never took this route again. We never even found the route again, but we went a weird route. But we got to Metter really, really quick. And there's not too many ways you get to Metter from Statesboro. So as we're taking this route and we're approaching Metter by one of my aunties at the townhouse, literally, we see this animal type thing. It has hooves up here, human at the top. The bottom is like beast. And it was like kind of weird. Looked like a Wendigo. Years later, I found out what I thought it was or something. Some mythical creature it looked like. Or a Baphomet. So we seen it and it was walking slow, so slow. We heard the taps and we looked right at it. It's walking behind my grandma's car. It's like this. You can hear it so loud and clear. You can hear the taps of his hooves walking around the car. And it walked into the field and disappeared. Bro, I had a Samsung Admire at the time. Could not take no picture. If y'all know about Metro, I had the little Metro PCS coming out of 5th grade. That Samsung Admire could not, it was not moving quick enough. And we was like, it disappeared in thin air. So I kept researching like animals that look like a man, half human, half man. And I found the Baphomet and I found the Wendigo. And as I progressed in my walk with Christ, because y'all, I follow Christ. I follow Jesus, Lord and Savior, Messiah. So as I started following Christ, I was talking to my pastor recently, and we were talking about a whole bunch of different things. He told me we could have been seeing in the spirit, and that could have been a demon. And he shared the story with me of how one of his friends actually seen something that they thought was quote unquote Bigfoot, and he shot at it, and it went through the face, and the thing looked back and kept walking. So it's a possibility that these things that we see, we could be seeing in the spirit realm, but it looks so real in the natural. But I tell you, no lie, this thing we seen, my mama can vouch for me. She could hop right in these comments. It was like, it was so creepy because it did not try to touch us, it did not try to harm us, but it went inside of the grass and it disappeared. We asked our cousins out there in Meta, has they like ever seen something like that? They talking about they heard stories of somebody growling and stuff like that in the bushes. But this wasn't that. It was not no growling. It was like a big, tall beast, about 8 foot tall. You hear the hooves as it walked and it just disappeared. So yeah, that was creepy.
Tell me, what's the creepiest experience you ever had in your life and why you still think about them?
Creepy story number 3. Finally, I know it took me forever to record this. This has to do with possession and my ex. I used to be married in the past, like a distant past, not anymore. And my ex was just doing things that were really creeping me out. And I always try to have a level head with stuff. So, you know, I was definitely talking myself out of it being the worst case scenario. He was emotionally abusive, and you know, you live and learn, you get older, you're like, okay, not going to do that anymore. But during that time, I saw him do things that were, in my opinion, unexplainable. There was a time where he woke up in cold sweat, and he was saying that there was a demon in his dream, and they were trying to grab him. And he said at the very end of the dream, the demon did grab him on the arm. And I was like, you know, I'm listening to this because I'm laying next to him. And he turns on the light. I'm telling you what I saw. There was a handprint on his arm. Then there was a time where I had a diary that I would write in, and I would keep that diary at my mom's house. It never left my mom's house. There was one day where he picked me up in my car because I went over there just to like hang out with my mom, and I did write in my diary a little bit. When he picked me up, I did accidentally put the diary in my backpack because I was also doing some schoolwork over there too, since I was in college at the time. And we had a situation where we had to abruptly stop in traffic, and that diary fell out of my backpack onto the floor. He picks it up for 5 seconds, and I could kind of see his eyes flutter a little bit. And I was like, what? He immediately throws down my diary, and he's like, what the fuck? And like, there was some stuff in there that he basically started telling me what was in my diary. And he was not the type of person, like, I know people will say, well, maybe he saw the diary some other time and then held on to the information at that point and gave it to you then. No, he was not that type of person. He would be explosive, aggressive. I told y'all he was emotionally abusive, not physically, but it was almost getting to that point. And he just started unloading on me, and then he started swerving the car. I was like, oh my God, like he's trying to kill us. And then the last incident before like things just went to a place where we ended up getting a divorce, he was arguing with me, and his eyes just turned all the way black. Like the whites disappeared. I was just like, this is too much for me.
Tell me, what's the creepiest experience you ever had in your life?